Dusty May is the top priority for Ohio State. Should this mean anything for Indiana fans? We'll talk about it next.
1 for 3 on the way.
Hello, guys, and thank you so much for joining me once again on Indiana Sports Connection. I am your residential anchor, Aaron. We have a lot of stuff to talk about on the show today. Dusty May is the top priority pick for Ohio State. That we will hear a clip from Jeff Goodman from the Field of 68 podcast, and then we'll talk a little bit about what that means for Indiana, or does it mean anything? Because let's face it, we're pretty much like hamstrung at this point. I know many people want, and I hear all of you, I would love Bruce Pearl, I would love Drew, I would love many of these guys, but we have to, I guess I just have to be honest with myself. It would really sting to see him go there for many reasons. Before we get into the episode, thank you so much for joining me. I am your residential anchor, Aaron. This is Indiana Sports Connection. Thank you so much for being here. This is where the most passionate Indiana Hoosiers and Colts fans come to talk about the games. So leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think. Who do you want the next coach to be? Should there be, and there's some type of petition going around right now about Mike Woodson. Tell me everything you love about the Hoosiers and leave a comment down below. And you can subscribe for free, hit that thumbs up button, and hit that bell notification so every time I go live, you will get that notification. And we give away home field apparel on this channel at 500 subscribers, which should be happening soon. I will be giving away more home field apparel. We are on our way to 1,000 subscribers. Jump in the rocket ship. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. And let's get into the episode, and let's get into talking about the Indiana Hoosiers. All right, so there is not really a report out, but I just want to play this clip from the Hummel and Goodman podcast. I watch this podcast all the time. They do great coverage of just across college basketball. When I want to know more stuff about more teams, Jeff Goodman is a great writer. Many of the articles, one of the videos I made, this video right here, was based on an article he wrote about how NBA coaches can't coach in college basketball. So I have a lot of respect for Jeff Goodman. When I first started watching him, didn't quite know who he was, but over time, he seems to have a lot of insight into these things. And he also has a daughter that goes to IU. So that's one of the reasons why he has such an interest in IU. So let's roll that clip. Here's Jeff Goodman talking about what's going to happen at Ohio State.
As much as he can right now. A lot of people think Sean Miller's involved at Xavier. I've been told he's not at the top of their list. I think the guy who's going to get it, because Greg McDermott's going to end up staying in Creighton unless this thing falls apart. Unless it falls apart, which they're not that far apart numbers-wise right now. They're not that far apart. So I would be shocked if it doesn't get done. I don't think McDermott wants to leave. I just think it's been tough for him because, again, his guy was the AD for so long, and Bruce Rasmussen.
Right.
Now he's dealing with Marcus Blossom, new AD, trying to kind of, set his mark there a little bit. And, Max, the guy there. He's the guy there. So, ultimately, I think he stays at Creighton. And I think the next coach at Ohio State is Dusty May. That's who I believe it will be at the end of the day. I think Dusty May from FAU.
What do you think? So
I do.
If Indiana gets wind of that, what does that change things for them?
I don't think so. I don't think they can move on from Mike Woodson this year unless Mike Woodson is ready. Which I don't think he's. I don't think.
No, I don't. I think he fully. It seems like from talking to him that he is fully.
And they just won 2 good games.
They have. Right.
They beat Wisconsin. They beat Maryland in College Park. 2 decent wins. And you finish with a little momentum. You feel a little bit better about yourself. I don't think Woodson's going anywhere. I wrote that the other day. I think he's going to get one more year unless, again, he's the one who initiates stepping down.
I just feel like, wow, that would be hard for Indiana's fan base to swallow, I feel like.
So there you have it. I mean, you heard Robbie Hummel at the end. It's like, yeah, is this a crushing blow for Indiana fans? Tell me what you think in the comments down below. This has not come to fruition yet. I mean, I understand all of the pullback from people that don't want Dusty May to come to Indiana, because I have the same types of feelings when I think about it. He's been to one Final Four. You know, they didn't make it to the final game. He coaches at not even really FAU. I mean, they're a mid-major school, but their place holds like 2,900 people. I've done more research about the troubles he's had this year trying to keep some of the FAU players there and not have them transfer out to some different schools. One thing, I mean, he's got a Slavic big man, Golden, who, if you know, all of the Slavic players are just excellent at passing, shooting, and dribbling the ball, which are the main skills you need to play basketball. I don't know why we don't teach those skills in the United States, but these European players seem to be far above and beyond, sometimes beyond us. But getting off the subject there, just talking about the makeup of that FAU team and looking at, could he transfer into the Big Ten? Now, here is one of the things to really think about when we're thinking about him going to Ohio State. Say he signs at Ohio State. Is there ever a chance that he would come to Indiana? And here's what I foresee that Ohio State's going to do anyway. If they sign him there at Ohio State, they're going to make there be a big buyout because of the looming fact that maybe in 1 or 2 years after Mike Woodson leaves Indiana. Because let's face it, Mike Woodson at his age right now, you know, he gets through this year, say, you know, he's going to be our coach next year. Say he gets this team through next year and, you know, somehow we get into the tournament and bumped out early again. What is the long-term goals of Mike Woodson being at Indiana? I mean, when he first came here and we had Dane Fife behind him and we had Thad Matta helping him, we kind of thought Indiana was setting up some type of transition period. It was like Mike Woodson was going to come in as kind of like the old hen and, you know, get people back into Indiana basketball, and then he was going to pass that baton over to somebody else. 3 years into this, you're sitting there looking at this going, okay, if he gets through next year, coaches make their moves or coaches go somewhere else. It just leaves us completely hamstrung. I mean, tell me what you think about all of this in the comments, because I have a lot of different thoughts about it. It's just, Ohio State will probably try to make the contract have a big buyout. Now, if Dusty May wanted to come to Indiana, he could just turn that contract down and say, you know, FAU did give him a new 10-year contract at FAU where he is making a little bit more money. Would he turn down that Ohio State job? And Ohio State has Sean Miller in their back pocket. That's who I thought was going to be the coach there the whole time. I think that he's from Ohio and he would be like the main candidate to go to be their coach. But would this, or could this, if a soap opera could play out for Indiana, and this is just hypothetical thinking right here, say Ohio State makes the offer to Dusty May and he calls Scott Dolson and says, Ohio State just made me this offer, but I really want to coach at Indiana. What does Indiana do at that moment? In my opinion, at that moment, Scott Dolson really needs to fire Quinn Buckner and Mike Woodson. I think Buckner did a lot of the pushing for Woodson, and it wasn't Scott Dolson to begin with. Now, we've seen some improvement from this Indiana team over the last 2 weeks. And if you're one of those fans out there that's like just completely drinking the Kool-Aid, and I will say this right now, not to even confuse you further, but if Mike Woodson did go through and win the Big Ten tournament this year, absolutely, I would say he deserves another year. But the way we've seen with his age and the way that things have fallen apart as this season has went on and how they've not really improved. And in my opinion, like how they're winning these last 2 games is really like this. Like if you've ever played in a competitive golf tournament, if you get through the first 12 holes and you're just playing absolutely awful and you think, you know, you're going to, this happened to me. I mean, you think you're just going to like play the worst round of your life. You get 12 holes in, you realize, hey, this thing's over. I'm already like way out of it. And then you just start playing free and you just start birdieing, you know, 3-4 of the last holes. And you think, well, if I would have done that the whole time, I would have shot, you know, 72 or 73. And instead I shot like 84. That's kind of what's happening to Indiana right now. It's like they're at the point in the season where nothing matters anymore. And because nothing matters, they're playing a lot more free. That is not a recipe for long-term success if you're a college basketball team. I love Dusty May. You can disagree with me. Many people will disagree with me. It is what it is right now, and I would love to see a change, and I know there's a lot of people still talking trash and selling their Mike Woodson stock. Tell me where you're at on this, Indiana fans. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Indiana Sports Connection, and tell me a little bit about why or what you want to see with this program going forward. I think we know what we're going to get watching another year of Mike Woodson. It may improve incrementally in some small ways, but it's not going to be a major improvement. Like, take example from this. Here's one thing I want to point out. Go look at Dusty May's resume for college basketball. He's been an assistant coach at a lot of different places before he became the head coach at FAU. My main point of that is it took him years of being an assistant in college to get to where he is even right now. And Mike Woodson was able to just waltz right into the Indiana job because he's an Indiana guy and get that job because without really any real college experience, just because of his name. And should that be a way that we hire coaches? I don't really believe so. And I think the only reason we felt good about it at the time was because Dane Fife was there and Thad Matta was there. Now those guys are gone. So what happens with this program going forward? Tell me what you think. Thank you so much for joining me. And until next time, stay classy out there, Hoosier fans.
Are we gonna do what they say can't be done?